Great. Live on YouTube and Facebook. Perfect. I know we already have at least a couple folks that are on here. I'm just giving this a second for Facebook to finish alerting and for me to finish sharing this out momentarily. All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started. I know it is a gloomy Monday, but we hopefully have some great news for you and some positivity. We'll go ahead and get kicked off and just started with the week. It is Memorial Day, and although both of us have professions that allow us to take the time off, we still wanted to be able to share with you as business continues to move forward. And of course, several of our business members are still active and open, and their doors are ready for business. So as you are hopping onto this broadcast, I ask that you do us a huge favor. You can start engaging with us in the comment section by posting pleasantries, good morning remarks. You can even comment on anything that comes to mind. Of course, if it's not too PC, then I probably won't pull it up, but you can feel free to use the comment section to engage with us. This is also the best way to ask us any questions. If the mayor shares updates or information and it leads to some questions that come to mind, you can always type it into the chat section. Now, if you're a returning viewer with us, I thank you so much. It's so odd to see my Facebook memories and it pulls up videos from last year. That goes to show that we've been holding these since March of 2020. They were on a daily basis, and now we've paired them back to a Monday, Wednesday, Friday structure since all of our programming and events are really coming back up, coming live. Of course, we invite you to hit the like button and hit the follow so you can get those notification alerts when we go live, if we post information on our page, and just so that you are informed on all things going on in our community. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much, especially for holding on throughout this last year and making it a point to not only engage with us, but also share this out to your network so others can be aware of what is transpiring in our city, in our county, state, and oftentimes as well our federal level as well. So I am Juliette Abdel, your chamber president and CEO, and I'm so pleased to continue to be on here with you on a near daily basis. I have with us on Mondays now our Mayor Seitz. So thank you so much for hopping onto the broadcast with us today.
It's absolutely my pleasure to be here, and I want to say thank you to everyone who is joining us on this rainy Memorial Day. I hope you're enjoying the Memorial Day weekend. I know my family just arrived home literally less than 20 minutes ago from a camping trip. And as we return to normalcy, I'm sure there are many in our community that are enjoying the long weekend, using it as an opportunity to reconnect with friends and family, maybe go out and support a local business. But I do want to take a moment to really recognize why we have this holiday today. Memorial Day means so much more than camping trips and barbecues. It is a day where we remember and reflect on the sacrifice of those who paid the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom, for the rights that we enjoy and the protections we enjoy. So today we express our gratitude for all the service members who have lost their lives fighting for our shared freedoms. I do want to make sure everybody knows, because of the holiday, there will be no meeting tonight for City Council. But I did want to give you a few pieces of information. Juliet, do you mind if I just jump right into those?
Go ahead and jump right in. Thank you.
Okay. So tomorrow night, we are going to have a special meeting. And this is where we will be interviewing applicants for the vacancy that was created when Mayor Atchison resigned. As those of you will remember, I moved up into mayor as mayor pro tem. That's what our charter writes that we do. That left a vacancy for my position. So this is for a 2.5-year term. We had 14 applicants. There are 8 finalists that will be interviewing tomorrow night. Juliet is going to include in the link if you want to watch the interviews. These are public, so you can watch the interviews. And that'll start tomorrow evening at 6:30 and go till about 10:30. Another thing that I think is really important that I wanted to highlight is last week we adopted our strategic plan for the city. So the strategic plan for the city is really the articulation of the value and vision of the city council, and by extension by the community, because we were elected by you. So this informs our work plans, our capital plans, and our budget. And I have to tell you, this city council as a body works the best together on these types of things. So whether it was our budget retreat just a little while ago or the strategic plan retreat, it is amazing to see how we work together to find common values and really do the best for our community. So I just wanted to give you the highlights. We've really pared back the strategic plan to 4 goals, but we do have some cross-cutting guiding principles that go throughout our strategic plan. So as a reminder, our new vision statement is we are a thriving community of safe neighborhoods and beautiful open space that is sustainable and inclusive. The guiding principles that I talked about that are cross-cutting through everything we do as a city is collaboration, partnership, and unity, stewardship and sustainability, transparency, diversity, equity, inclusion, and opportunity for all, innovation, and this last one I think is still phrased clunky, but it was something all of us really cared about on council. It's really cause-driven holistic solutions, and I don't think that quite captures what we were looking for. We as a council wanted to make sure before we try to solve a problem, we understand the upstream drivers of the problem, what contributes to that issue, along with downstream, what are the symptoms? How are we experiencing that as a community? And how do we address it on both ends of the spectrum? So I'm going to go real quickly through the goals. The first goal is foster and maintain a beautiful, desirable, safe, and environmentally responsible city. Our second goal is to cultivate a thriving, inclusive, and engaged community through access to opportunity and a resilient and diverse economy. Something that's probably very near and dear to the Chamber's heart.
Of course.
Our third goal is provide visionary, effective, and collaborative government. And our fourth and final goal is advance the city's long-term sustainability to provide ongoing excellence in city services and a well-planned community that meets the needs of residents now and in the future. And I'm happy to answer any questions we might have about this, our strategic plan, now or in the future. If any come into mind or you're curious where something falls in within those 4 main goals, let me know, and I'm happy to go into it. And then the last thing I have for you, if there's no questions on the strategic plan, the last thing I have is really a call to action. We have a new Westminster Civics Academy in 2021. It's an 8-week program. It helps you be informed, be engaged, learn firsthand about the role of local government, and get an inside look at city operations. So each session will entail a new interactive learning experience and will take place at a variety of city facilities and are led by department subject matter experts. The reason I'm bringing this up now is June 2nd is the deadline to apply. I know Juliet was going to put the link for the application. This is a great opportunity and experience. You have to be 18 years or older to apply. There is a graduation ceremony, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So we're excited about this new program and would love to hear your thoughts and would love to have you participate.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Mayor. I'm going to pause us just momentarily. I see a few different folks that are on here. Our past chairman, Brian Dice. I also see Wayne Anderson and Parker Brown. Parker sharing a nice good morning message our way. Thank you, Parker, for hopping on, especially since you guys are still going pretty strong. I know that he's been out of town dealing with health and then also running his restaurant. So I don't know how you do it, Parker, but thank you for engaging with us. Of course, Wayne is sharing a nice quick Memorial Day message to both you, Mayor Seitz, and myself. And then I do see Brian Dice. I thought I saw his comment and now it's not pulling up. But if you are now hopping onto our broadcast, we have Mayor Seitz who's providing us updates on a number of things that they've touched on. We really started with the appointment process, which we discussed in length last week, what that looks like, meaning where they're at. Tomorrow is the interviews for the applicants that they had, over 14 applications that came through, which they've narrowed down the top 8 of those. If you're interested in viewing those, the mayor has provided us the link for you to be able to access that, and that will be tomorrow. That's Tuesday, June the 1st from 4:30 to 6:30. All of the information about that is included in the comment section, so I don't expect you to try and frantically write this down, but please feel free to follow the link on here. Now, of course, the mayor did also go in detail extensively, which thank you so much, about giving us an overview on the strategic plan. I think that's very important for our community, our businesses, and residents to know what is the vision, where are we ultimately moving as a city together, and then be able to chime in on those different areas. The new vision, which you've been able to give us so thankfully, is that we are a thriving community of safe neighborhoods and beautiful open space that is sustainable and inclusive. And I feel like Mayor Seitz, at one point there was a vision, or maybe it was just a tagline of being kind of this next urban center between Denver and Boulder, but this seems like it has actually gone in on a more boots on the ground level into our communities, into the lives of our neighbors, really.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point. The old vision statement for the city, not really the strategic plan, but the vision statement did have that next urban center. And really that's a planning term. It wasn't to mean that we would be urbanized, the whole city, urbanized, high density development as far as the eye could see. It really meant that we would be a community of choice similar to Boulder or Denver or Fort Collins. And so what this new vision statement does, I think, is much more crisply and succinctly articulates what the vision was. And the strategic plan, I think, reinforces how do we get there. So I don't actually think it's a change of direction, but I do think it goes from a wonky, very long, hard to understand vision to something that is very clear, and I think fundamentally describes the value proposition of where Westminster is now and where we want to go.
I do love that. And I love that you're sharing that is still a big part of kind of the driving factor, but having us be able to digest it and identifying our core areas. So thank you for that. I see Donna. Thank you, Donna, for hopping onto the broadcast with us. The mayor also went in on our guiding principles. And this is an interesting thing, because when people generally see a vision or mission statement and then they see goals, and that's kind of that's all that they understand from it. But these guiding principles I view as kind of your guardrails, or where as you're looking to take on a project or initiative, is it aligning with these? Are these the core reasons behind why you're doing what you're doing? And correct me if I paraphrase that incorrectly, but but some of these things we've seen in the past through efforts through the city, but we may be highlighting them a lot more significantly now moving forward.
I think that's right. And I think you want your strategic plan to set a very clear path for implementation to the organization, and you want your community to make sure they know what you're talking about, right? You're clear with them and that they agree. And so I think that this gives us not just these are our goals, but these are the values that we're going to use to implement those goals. So I think you stated it very well, Juliet.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Now, one of those goals, we're going to move on to these, so just so we can dissect them a little bit. And I know I said the 3,000-foot perspective, but since we have some time before we give some more information, I figured we can hit some of the questions that we might get later on and avoid those, right? But goal number 1 was to foster and maintain a beautiful, desirable, safe, and environmentally responsible city. Now, this sounds like, when I start seeing this type of goal, I start hearing different voices in the room, and that's where the key key terms come into play of safe, desirability, environmentally. Anything else that you want to touch on with this goal so that others may be able to see the lens that the City Council is viewing this with?
Yeah, so this goal, we had underneath it 4 objectives.
Okay.
To kind of help give that more specific, granular, this is what we mean by this as a body. And it's not limited to this, but these were the 4 that kind of percolated to the top in the conversations with council. And so the first was we wanted to continue to expand our outreach to connect better with the community. And there was a lot of discussion around this one, making sure that we're not just talking at the community and reporting about our projects, but really having that two-way communication that helps inform better policymaking, helps us understand the needs, desires, goals of the community, and then also allows people like our Civics Academy to understand what is local government, to invite them to the table and expand who's participating. So that was really important to us. The next is something that I think we consistently see in our citizen surveys, in all of our surveys as a top priority for Westminster residents, and that's to preserve, expand, enhance our trails and open spaces. And this is new, with an eye towards geographic equity and connectivities through neighborhoods throughout the cities. I know that I survived COVID because of our wonderful parks, trails, and open spaces. But I'm fortunate, I have very easy access from my home, right? So wanting to make sure that everyone is able to participate in that value is something that we're going to use as we continue to invest in these amenities.
Excellent.
And then there's 2 more. I'm sorry, I know this is longer than you probably meant. Advance innovation in parks, recs, with, again, emphasis in geographic equity. And we've seen this in the past. This isn't all that new, but, we didn't used to have swim lessons in Spanish, even though we have, almost a quarter of our population is Latino, Latina. So these are things, we had the Spanish movies in the park, Latino festival. So things like making sure that we're matching the needs and the desires of the community. And then the last was working to bring resilience and triple bottom line practices to our programs, our capital infrastructure, all of our functions as a city. So we're really embedding social, environmental, and economic resilience and equity into everything we're doing.
I think that's absolutely great. And I did intend for you to go in detail like this because, well, and it's because we went such a high level. We gave them, here's goal 1. Then we went in detail on goal 2 and said that it was cultivating a thriving, inclusive, engaged community through access to opportunity and resiliency and a diverse economy. We then said goal number 3, which is providing visionary, effective, and collaborative government. And then goal number 4 of advancing the city's long-term sustainability to provide ongoing excellence in city services and a well-planned community that meets the needs of residents now and into the future. And the reason why I wanted us to go in a deep dive, at least on goal number 1, was so that they can see that there's more than just this one tagline to achieve it. There are a number of kind of reasons behind this phrase, right? And what is going to be the way that we try and approach it the best. And so for people that are interested in finding the strategic plan, is this something that has been placed on the city's website? Do we know that it would be accessible to the public at this point?
I don't know as of today if it has because we adopted it on Monday of last week. So it is in the packet from last Monday, right? Because it was available to the public before we voted on it. I would imagine that it has been posted in city government, in the government section, but I wouldn't want to promise that if they have not uploaded it yet. So if it is not there at this time, it should be very shortly.
Excellent. And so what I'll do, because I know there was one question that was received about that. It looks from Wayne was asking about the strategic plan. He said, yes, the new one is on the city site. So I have
and answered by Wayne. Thank you, Wayne.
Perfect. So here is the link to the city's website to find the previous meeting where the actual packet was. And then, of course, it's been updated on the website. Then our mayor has talked about the 8-week program that they're looking to launch. And this is really a civics academy for anyone interested interested in a deep dive into understanding the city, the operations, what they generally do, and hearing it from the experts that are running those individual departments. So this is a newer program. The deadline is June the 2nd, so it's right around the corner. It's actually this Wednesday. Do we have an idea on a couple of things come to mind? And I'll ask you these, even if I may know the answer. The first is it at a cost to people to be able to participate? And then the second is, how competitive is it as far as a program? Are we limiting the number of people that can be participating in it, or is it just open to any and all?
It is going to be a limited number of of folks that will go through the program. So it'll be competitive depending upon how many people apply. But that's a good thing. Sometimes when you have too large of a class, you don't get that one-on-one opportunity to ask questions or to deep dive into subject matters that might interest you. So I don't know how competitive it'll be. But this isn't going to be a one and done. We're going to be doing this multiple times. So if you don't make it this round, please continue to apply. It's like, did you ask how long it is? It's 8 weeks. What was it? I'm sorry. I know you asked like 3 questions.
No cost, or is there
no cost to there is not a cost to the applicants.
Excellent. And the link is included into the comment section of this broadcast for anyone that may be interested in applying to this program. New program for the city. It's an 8-week to engage with the public, engage with the community at no cost. It is competitive in nature, but get your applications in if this is something of interest to you. We also have a new one. Quick comment from Eric Gardner. Thank you, Eric, for hopping on. A quick good morning your way as well for tuning into broadcast. Mayor, I don't want to lose sight. You also have a number of other things that we wanted to touch on, especially as it relates to COVID. So I'll pass the torch back over to you, and then I'll quickly type some of these away to anyone that's tuned in.
And I just realized I was a bit vague in answering your earlier question. It is limited to 25 folks in the first class. So, I mean, we will see how many applicants we get. I think we've had a good number so far, but we really want to have a big, diverse applicant pool. So I wanted to keep with former Mayor Atchison's tradition of giving COVID updates. The first thing I think will make a lot of people on this call excited is that we are, as a council, we have decided we want to start opening back up to the public in our meetings and having public participation. There are some constraints that we have. So we would not be able to have more at this time until there is a new public health order. We would not be able to have more than 100 folks in council chambers at a time. And so trying to figure out how do we make sure everybody has equal access for public comments is a little bit tricky. But we believe we will have that figured out in June. So we don't have a definitive date yet. June 14th was talked about. We will see if we're able to make that happen by then, and I can give an update next Monday. Everything is opening up, and it's really exciting. There has never been a better time to make sure that you shop local. It will allow the city of Westminster to rebound so much more quickly. Those sales tax dollars are our lifeblood as a local government, but it also helps our business owners bounce back. A lot of them have held on tight and really been able to, struggle through this. We need to now support them as we see recovery and a full opening of everything going on. Because things are looking so much better, the COVID-19 updates that we get from staff at every council meeting and every study session are going to go to twice a month instead of every single meeting that we have. Again, just another great sign of the times. So now I'm going to give you just a few statistics to show you that things are looking good. The confirmed case change since last week when I talked to you, and again, these numbers are from Thursday, so they're a little bit dated as of now. Statewide, there was an additional 4,769 cases. In Adams County, there was an additional 534. Jefferson County, an additional 393, and in the city of Westminster, 124. It is my understanding that the population with the largest increase are those middle school and high schoolers. So again, recognizing some people vaccinations are not what you want to do, but please do be mindful because those children under 12 can't get their vaccination yet, and we are seeing it impact some of the younger kids now that previously we hadn't seen as such an issue with. Deaths are also down. In the state, there was 59 deaths last week. 4 in Adams County, 9 in Jefferson County, only 1 in Westminster. Always a somber statistic and always something that reminds us this is still here. This is real and it has a real impact on people. Vaccinations in Adams County, we had an additional 24,662 vaccinations. So that means 46% of Adams County right now is fully immunized, and that's up 3% from the previous week. Jefferson County has now we've had 27,766 additional vaccinations in the last week, and they are at 60% vaccinated, fully immunized. So that's up just under 3%. So Adams County, let's catch up. Let's see if we can beat Jefferson County here, or at least get on an equal footing. I think that this is really the key to having a very resilient local economy, is getting us closer and closer to that herd immunity. Westminster trends over the last 7 days, we have a daily average of 17.7 cases, a full 124 cases, and that's 5 less than the previous week. I know I just rattled through a lot of statistics. We are including the link for the Colorado Department of Health and Environment. I think if you want to take a peek and do a deeper dive into data and look at the trends, I know a lot of people really enjoy looking at that. It is a good picture and a lot more fun than it was to do than 6 months ago. So we've included the link for that too. But the good news is I think we can put our shoulders down a little bit. We should be kind and respectful to each other. Just recognizing everyone's doing the best they can in the circumstances. Let's not shame people who are wearing masks. Let's not shame people who aren't wearing masks. Let's just be considerate and conscientious and do our best to support each other and to support our local economy.
Thank you so much for ending with that. I've been emphasizing that as much as possible, and I so appreciate hearing you echo that. There are a number of things that you just threw our way at the very back end of this broadcast, and so I wanted to capture that for folks. If any of you are interested in reading more in depth on the data that Mayor Seitz has provided our way, that's at the link included into the comment section of this broadcast. I've also pulled in some of those the information that she has shared from the immunization numbers in Adams County, of course, at 46%. To Jeffco showing a 60%, so slightly over in the number of vaccine immunizations. We also shared numbers of COVID. So as of last Thursday, some numbers that we saw here in Adams County, in Jefferson County, and then of course in the city of Westminster. Thank you for this breakdown that shows kind of the increases for countywide and then of course for city specific. We went in detail on what we feel like some of these increases are coming from. It looks like it's coming from middle school and high school students under 12. I'm assuming, Mayor, whenever folks are going to this website to find the statistic, they can also see a breakdown. For example, when we talk about 124 cases in Westminster, or if it's as broadly as the 534 in Adams, that it would show them a percentage of this came from this age group and a percentage of that, or is it, okay, great.
Exactly. You can go and see really the demographic breakdowns quite a bit more. And so you can really nerd out at that level. And if you're interested in, Juliet, I don't want to interrupt, but I did have something that I learned this week that I thought was really interesting. I have had members of my family who are very, very smart people. They had COVID and they had some hesitancy to get the vaccine because they had heard that there was a stronger reaction to the vaccine if you had COVID. And so I actually asked at the Jefferson County Public Health meeting about this and found, no, in fact, there isn't any, while that is a common rumor, there is no data that indicates that. But there was a New York Times article that came out, and maybe you already saw it, that if you had COVID-19 and you get the vaccine, they think your immunity may last indefinitely, right? So, there's all this, how long does a COVID vaccine last? When will you have to get the boosters? All of these questions. And so that population that might have been hesitant to get the vaccine, they might be actually in the best situation to have a long-term, if not permanent, immunity to COVID-19 if they get the vaccine. So I thought that was interesting. and recognizing that that was a hesitancy for a lot of folks. Just wanted to articulate it.
Thank you. No, thank you for that. And on the note, I'm going to dovetail off of you sharing about Jefferson County. Recently, they just released that there are mobile vaccine clinics that are now being available 7 days out of the week. So as information comes on that, I'm sure we'll be able to share it with folks. And as a follow-up to this, so when we had Jason Gink on our broadcast, Mayor, we talked about the Fat Cats location actually closing the testing sites, if I'm not mistaken, by the end of this month. So by the end of May, which means that today, if they are open, because it's Memorial Day. How does that look like when we're still seeing some numbers going up in terms of COVID cases, when we're still seeing people that are still getting sick from COVID and there are still deaths taking place? I mean, how do we equate that some of these clinics where people or drive-ins that people could get tested are no longer there for folks to actually go out there and do that?
No, I think that's a really good question. And I highlighted that last week too, that today, I think at 7:00 was all at that time they were planning Fat Cats to be. So I haven't heard definitively that it was closing, but that it was only planned to be open. It's a slight nuance, but it is my understanding it is going away after today. And I think one of the real tools we've had compared, I have family that lives in another part of the country and it's very difficult to get tested. And so I think that's been an incredible tool. I don't know how the decision was made that the ROI on that investment was no longer worthwhile. I can ask, we have these weekly meetings, and so I will come back on Monday and give a more specific or a more informed answer as to why the decision was made to remove them and what do they recommend to folks that want to get tested to know if that sore throat or that cough is something more. But I think it's a really good question, and it's one I've been wondering and worried about myself, particularly as, I have 3 kids, 2 of which have had their first vaccine because of their age, a third who's only 9 and so is unable to. And so, definitely mindful of if something was to happen to her, how would I go make sure she's not potentially infecting other folks.
Right. Yeah. And not necessarily freaking out at any sign, right? And WebMDing and then taking it only to find that you're using space that somebody else could be using that's in a significantly different position. So
correct.
Yeah.
The free clinics or the free testing sites really took away that internal debate of, do I make an appointment or do I just wait it out? So
exactly.
It allowed us to make best decisions. So yeah, it is going to be a loss.
For sure. Well, Mayor, we are over the 30-minute mark, so I do want to give a quick wrap of how to connect with us on social. And while I'm doing this wrap up, if there's anything else that you think of that you want to throw in before I officially close this out, you just let me know and I'll pause. For those of you that are tuned into this broadcast, we have Mayor Seitz with us, who's given us a number of items for us to review, from data points related to COVID to the new strategic plan that was just adopted by City Council. Information on all of that is included in the chat section of this broadcast. You can find the link to the appointment process tomorrow. There are interviews for who will fill this vacant role for the next 2.5 years. Of course, all the way to information as it relates to the number breakdown for COVID and where to find how is that coming to fruition, where is that coming from. Of course, we've also talked about the new Citizens Academy that is opening up through the City of Westminster, the deadline being June the 2nd. 8-week program at no cost, is competitive, limited to about 25 people. If you're interested, the link is also included into the comment or chat section. Quick thank you to Mayor Pro Tem Dave DeMott for hopping on and tuning into the broadcast with us. Good morning to you. Now,
I would like to say, acknowledge on Monday of last week, Mayor Pro Tem DeMott was sworn in by Judge Lontine, and just would like to take a moment to congratulate him and thank him for being on this morning.
Thank you so much, Anita. Thank you, Dave, for hopping on to this broadcast with us. Congratulations on both of your roles in City Council. I think you both bring some great experience. And of course, as things continue to transition for the city, for the economy and the community, it's always nice to have that continuity. Now, if you are not already aware, you can tune in with us on all of our social platforms. We are not only here on Facebook, of course, on YouTube, Westminster Chamber of Commerce, and connected on Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. in West D Chamber. Feel free to engage with us on all of those platforms. One of the items that Mayor Seitz had shared earlier, and that was that we are opening back up. Please keep in mind to continue to invest locally as things continue to open up, that it's more important than ever. I could not agree with you more. And I just wanted to quickly highlight National Small Business Week. It did conclude with us. We ran it through from the 2nd to the 22nd. And I just wanted to give a quick shout out and thank you to those participating businesses. Of course, to community members, you all engaged and reshared all of those posts and messaging. We reached over 4,000 by you alone spreading the message on all things social. And then we reached nearly 3,000 people with those video vlogs that we were able to host. So thank you so much for supporting that effort of shopping local and, of course, shopping during Small Business Week. If you are watching this broadcast and it's later and we are no longer live, give us the hashtag replay so we know that you tuned in. Of course, if you have any questions that come to mind and we're not live, you can always type them or DM the page directly and we'll be able to get them answered for you. And if you've not already done so, hit the share button on this broadcast so others in your network can see it. Mayor, is there anything else I'm leaving before I set you free for the rest of your Memorial Day?
Just thank you again for having me here. I know, Juliet, you have provided such a resource to your members throughout the pandemic. I just want to offer to your members, we want to bring you content that's interesting to you, that helps you run your business. And so if you have suggestions to help us curate really meaningful comments, let the chamber know, let me know. We'd be happy to bring those very relevant updates to you each Monday.
Absolutely. Well, I thank you so very much. I appreciate you hopping on, especially coming into town in the last 20 or 30 minutes before this broadcast. I think we both did well hopping onto this considering where we were at. But it is Memorial Day, and I hope everyone takes a moment to really appreciate the life that we are allowed and have, and take that as an opportunity of making a difference, not only in our own lives personally, but in the lives of our families, friends, and our community. So with that, thank you guys so very much. Thank you, Mayor. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.